Hi, Jim Murphy, Elite Style Massage. So I wanted to do a video today on plantar fasciitis. I get lots of questions from clients to do with this. Runners tend to get plantar fasciitis, especially if you're a heel striker, because of the process of the heel bone hitting the ground all the time. It does cause the fascia to get inflamed at some point. Forefoot runners don't tend to suffer as much because obviously they're on the ball of their foot all the time. But even people that don't run will at some point suffer with this as they get older. It's just the process of the fascia getting inflamed underneath the bottom of the foot there. So there's no one thing cures all with plantar fasciitis. There are things you can try and things that you can do to help alleviate your symptoms and give your foot a bit more mobility. But again, it's trial and error with these. Like I said, I get varying results with my clients depending on what they actually do. So if they're a runner or a jumper, or they're doing a specific job, it's just a bit of trial and error. So today I'm going to show you just a few things that can help your symptoms. So there's 3 things that I normally like you to do. The first one is with a tennis ball. Okay, so get yourself a tennis ball, just a normal tennis ball, relatively new one. Don't have a really old one that's got no tension in it. And what you're going to do with a bare foot, you're just going to basically half squash it. That's how much pressure you should be using. So half squash a tennis ball and just roll backwards and forwards all across the underside of your foot for 4 minutes, okay? Now you need to do 4 minutes with this. After about 3 minutes of doing this, you're gonna feel all the back of your leg unraveling. You'll feel it going ping, 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 all up the leg. And that's as the fascia is unraveling. Okay, it's a really good thing just to release the fascia. Now a tennis ball is all that you need, like literally just a normal size tennis ball. Some people say to me that you use golf balls or cricket balls, they're far too hard, okay? If you've got plantar fasciitis, it's inflammation of the fascia. And any inflammation, you shouldn't be rubbing it because you're going to make it worse. So with a tennis ball, with a golf ball or a cricket ball, it's just too hard. You're just squashing the fascia against the structures on the underside of the foot, and you can actually make the inflammation worse. So I have had people use golf balls and tennis balls, and cricket balls and say, oh yeah, it didn't really help, because it's just basically making it worse or keeping the inflammation there. So a tennis ball is more than enough pressure that you'll be getting back to release the fascia and just soften it up. At worst, or at most, if you're used to using a tennis ball and you feel like you need a little bit more, I'd get a rubber ball from a pet shop, you know, the type you'd throw for a dog. Nothing harder than that, okay, on the plantar fasciitis, on the sole of the foot there. Okay, so that's one thing you can do with a tennis ball. That's really useful just to soften things up. Now, normally when you get up first thing in the morning, your feet feel like you're on planks of wood, literally. They just don't bend. Like I have people say to me, they have to hobble around the bedroom for 3 minutes, 4 minutes until things start to loosen off a little bit. So keep a tennis ball by your bed and do a little bit of rolling just to soften the fascia up. And then this stretch is really good for the fascia. So you're gonna just basically dig your toes into the floor like that and just really kind of stretch forward. Go forward a bit more for me. Yeah, really stretch forward. I want this really opened out and really stretching. And hold that 20 seconds to 2 minutes until you feel that it's stretched enough so you can sort of roll around and move around on it, okay? So that's 2 things. Now, if you're not that mobile, I get some older clients that can't really do this or their balance is there. There's a really good one you can do using a towel or a resistance band. Okay, so this one I really like for people that aren't that mobile, like I said, or haven't got the balance to be sort of bending forward and lunging forward. It's really simple. If you get yourself a towel, a small towel or one that's sort of going to be long enough for what I'm going to show you, fold it in half this way and then fold it in half again. And then what you're going to do, you're going to put it underneath your calf and the back of your leg. So if you just lift your leg for me. Okay, and rest your leg on it. And then just pull it across the front of the foot like that. So basically you're just stretching your toes. Same movement as you was doing when you was on the floor. But just by doing that, you're really able to stretch the fascia. You're able to control also how much pressure and how much stretch you're using to do this. But this will really help stretch out the fascia. So that's with a towel, nice and simple. If you're finding it really, really painful and it's too much to start with, because sometimes people kind of overcook it at the start and it doesn't give them much relief because it just doesn't want to let go. If you get a resistance band like this and do the same thing, but because this has got a bit of give in it, it's a little bit more forgiving. So maybe if you've got a resistance band, start with that. And again, you can see the way that this is really just stretching the underside of the foot there. That will kind of save it from being too uncomfortable initially. Then you can progress onto a towel, and then if you want to, maybe hold on to something, a chair or something, and then try and do the one on the floor. So there's 3 things there that are going to be really useful for helping alleviate your symptoms for plantar fasciitis. Like I said, there's no major main cure, oh this has fixed it. It is a little bit of trial and error with the plantar fasciitis issue. There are also insoles that you can buy. Amazon have got a range of them. You can go and spend £300 on orthotics and all sorts, but sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes even just taking the pressure off that bone spur that's hitting the heel the fascia that's causing that inflammation, just taking your foot away from that can sometimes be enough to give you the relief you need for a period of time. So they do these kind of wedges that kind of just elevate the heel up slightly, and it just leaves a gap in where that bone spur is. Now, the other problem is something you're doing has caused plantar fasciitis, whether you're running, wearing a certain pair of shoes, or doing a certain sport or job. That's what's causing it. And unfortunately, you're going to go back to doing that very thing. So sometimes you do need to give your body a chance just to get over it and recover and let that inflammation subside. Once it has, then you'll be able to progress back to it. But, try and find something that works for you. People sometimes try all sorts of things, like they've put half a bottle of water in the freezer and frozen it, and they put that on the floor and they roll backwards and forwards, and that's quite nice because the ice and the coldness of the ice in the bottle is soothing for the foot. Some people try anti-inflammatories, but you're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error with plantar fasciitis because there's no one thing cures all. All right, I get very different results with my clients depending on what they're doing. So it's up to you to try these things. But hopefully that's been helpful. As usual, I'll put my email address in the top there, and I'll see you next time.